Good morning, y'all. It is Wednesday, the 6th of June, 2024. Man, I got it right on the first shot. Look at that. Would you just look at that? It is Wednesday. Oh, sorry. My goodness. It's Thursday, not Wednesday. See how it is? I got the date right and messed up the day. Yikes. I can't get through one day. Just one day. I hope you all are having a good day today. And I hope you all are having a good week. And it's almost a weekend. Be in prayer for one another. Be in prayer for my pastor. He's finished up his move. Should be done here today and maybe tomorrow. Um, be in prayer for one another. Help each other as much as you can. And just the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So we need prayer. Be in prayer for me. I've got some things God's burdened me and He's called me to do. And it's a matter of how much faith I put in Him and also being a good steward. So just pray. And it's ministry directed. So I need that. So we're just going to do something pretty quick. We're going to look at 1 Corinthians 9:24. And we looked at, prior to that, Paul, first part of 9, he was talking about his rights as a preacher, as an apostle, that he is an apostle. There were some doubters, disputers, things like that out there, you know, trying to fight with him about being an apostle. Happens with me sometimes. People, doubt that I'm called to be a preacher. It is what it is. I know I am. The fruit's there. God works through me through this. But a lot of preachers go through that, where people will doubt and detract what we're called to do. And the same thing happened with Paul. So he went into that. And then he went into the duty to support Bible believing, preaching missionaries and pastors and preachers and evangelists. And then we looked at yesterday Paul's sacrifice, that he gave up things to be a minister, to be a preacher of the gospel, to be our apostle. There's a lot of things Paul gave up. And as a preacher, going into that as a called out preacher by God, I have to give up some things. I have to give up extra time. Whereas a normal Christian doesn't have to give up as much time as like a preacher does. We're called to give up extra time to work the gospel, work for the gospel. Now, we have to balance things out, and that's hard. I had a conversation with a truck driver the other night about balancing things out and making sure he took enough time for his wife. And it wasn't me that I had to counsel, it's God kind of put that on me talking to him. And here's a guy that came, he just felt led to pray with me. And it was great. I appreciate the prayer. But in turn, it was actually God wanted to talk to him about something. And it's funny how God works that. Sometimes you feel like God's telling you to go do something to help somebody, when in turn, it's really God turning it around and trying to help you. And I'm thankful I was there for that opportunity to talk to him. Because honestly, the sad thing is, a lot of these chaplains that are out there, they probably couldn't do it, or may not have been in tune to the situation that he was going through. So I'm thankful for that opportunity. And then we looked at yesterday also how Paul had to become all things to all men. He had to be able to understand every man, every person, and the situation they're in order to be an effective minister, in fact, effective preacher. And that's a pastor. They have to be able to put themselves into positions they may not be comfortable with, because we have to be all things to all men, that by all means we might save some. We have to understand what each and every person's going through. And sometimes that's hard for preachers. Sometimes preachers will face things they've never had to face. But that's part of working for Christ. And we're going to wrap it up on this. It's not very long today. Look at 1 Corinthians 9, verse 23. And it says here, 1 Corinthians 9, verse 23. And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you. Paul was saying everything he does ministry-wise and in his life is for the gospel's sake, to further Christ's ministry. That is our job as a called out preacher. We're to do not things for ourselves to make us look good. We're to do things to make God look good and that to show his glory and his power in our lives so that when we go out and we're doing these things, we're doing it to bring him pleasure. The truck stop ministry, me being a missionary and called out preacher, I don't do that for me. I don't. I do that because that's what God has called me to do. And I do it to bring honor and pleasure to him. And let me just tell you this much. When I'm not serving God, I'm miserable. When I'm not out there doing something for God, I'm miserable because I know that that is what God has called me to do. So I'm going to close on this. I need your prayer. I need support for what God has called me to do. And in the days coming, I will break down with you exactly how I feel God is leading me as far as ministry goes. Because you all that watch this, you watch this every day, you're part of this ministry. Whether you watch it on Facebook or you're the few that watch it on YouTube, you're part of my ministry. And as a steward, I need to tell you what I'm doing for God. That's all I have for you today. If you ever have any questions, concerns, prayer requests, you can email me, brokenroadchannel@gmail.com. You can also message me here on Facebook if you're watching this on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you. Again, you can email me, brokenroadchannel@gmail.com. You can find a link to my email on my website, brokenroadjourney.com. Questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, you want to pray for me? Send me a message on those two ways, either Facebook Messenger or through email. You can do it directly through the website also, brokenroadjourney.com. That's all I've got for you today. I hope you have